Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. Breaking: Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job as Manchester United manager, using the terms loosely, is safe for now. He's safe for now. Yep. It's interesting, isn't it? Because even these virtue signalling influencers want him out. They're doing it in a polite way. I support my club. Whatever happens, win, lose or draw, I support my club. Well, of course you're going to say that so you can keep the club on side and you can keep everyone following you, watching your YouTube videos. I'm actually sick to death of Manchester United influencers and talking down to us. If you're a Man United fan who's being toxic about Ole, shut up. We're frustrated. We've had enough. Who died and put you fucking in charge? No one. So Ole Gunnar Solskjaer keeps his job for now. What is it about this manager? I don't get it. The club are scared of sacking him. People are scared of actually speaking the truth about him. It's interesting, you know, because I think we all know of the United Stand, and I actually discovered the United Stand in the last month or so of Louis van Gaal's Manchester United managerial reign. And I remember the ferocity that Mark Goldbridge used to talk about him. But I didn't ever believe that Mark was being toxic. I believed Mark was being genuine and honest. When I watched a recent video on the United Stand from Mark, he said, I'm not going to lay into him, I'm going to be respectful. But you weren't respectful of Louis. Why are you respectful of this man? He's a nice bloke. Well, let me ask you this, Mark, and I love you, Mark. I follow you on Twitter, I support you, and all of that. But we have to question people when they need to be questioned in a constructive way. Is he a good bloke? This is a man who's targeted Van der Beek from the very beginning, one of the best Dutch players in world football. Just weeks ago, he talked about him telling him publicly not to be a fucking sulker. He told Marcus Rashford he needs to focus on his football. Then he did another press conference after being told by the club, you better fucking apologise publicly. Let's get the elephant in the room out there. The elephant in the room's out there, mate, because you told the lad, basically, in no uncertain terms, to stop focusing on feeding children and focusing on his football. Of course, he's always been focused on his football. He's had a few injuries recently. He's a professional. He's a good lad who's been brought up the right way. And you're telling him to focus on his football instead of feeding children. You are an utter disgrace. And you know what? People say he's a good bloke. You don't even know the bloke because he smiles a bit and he's 3 foot tall. He's a good bloke. No. I respect him for what he did as a player. But he's not a legend. He's not. Bobby Charlton. So Bobby Charlton's a legend. Eric Cantona's a legend. Ronaldo's a legend. Steve Bruce is a legend. Roy Keane's a legend. This was a good player who used to come off the bench and score a few goals, and he scored one of the most important goals in the club's history. Thank you. That's great. It doesn't make him a club legend. And it certainly doesn't make him a good bloke. Does a good bloke hold on to his job when he knows exactly what everybody knows? That he's simply not good enough to be a top flight manager. But here's the embarrassing thing about it. The embarrassing subtext to it. We have Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as our manager, and fans are singing Ole's at the wheel and Ole must stay because they know he's shit. Our club have heard this, and they were considering whether to sack him or not yesterday, but I don't understand. It's an elementary decision, so why aren't they making it? Do they want us to suffer? Do they want us to keep on verbally attacking them as owners and runners of the club? Of course they don't. The problem is that they have here is they need a manager to replace him. Now, I was hearing stuff about Darren Fletcher. Now, you're literally, if you bring in Darren Fletcher as a caretaker manager, you're solving one problem and creating the same problem. You're not learning. He will win a couple of games, it will be Daz is at the wheel, and he'll be given a 5-year contract and a fucking Porsche. That's not what we want. We want a top flight manager. So apparently they've started having talks with Conte. That's what I'm a bit confused about. Now, I believe yesterday they had no intention of sacking Solskjaer. That they weren't discussing whether they should sack him or not. No. They were discussing about bringing in Antonio Conte as Ole's pet fucking poodle, as someone to help Ole become a better coach. But ask yourself this question. If Ole Gunnar Solskjaer needs better coaches, then surely Ole Gunnar Solskjaer shouldn't be the manager of Manchester United. But still, he is the manager of Manchester United. These dumb fucks gave him an extended 5-year contract or whatever they've done. And now they're worried about having to pay another manager off. They paid off Moyes. He only stayed there for a few months of a 5-year contract. Then Mourinho they had to pay off. No, then they had to pay off LVG. I'm skipping myself. I'm losing myself. It's confusing, isn't it? We've had so many bloody managers since Fergie left. So anyway, we've paid off LVG and we've paid off Mourinho. And now we've made exactly the same mistakes again. And even though Sir Alex Ferguson had a face like thunder at the Liverpool game, apparently he's backing Ole as well now. Well, let's be honest, Sir Alex, it's not like you haven't been betraying Manchester United and its fans for many years now. Anyway, let's be clear about this. Sir Alex Ferguson was an iconic, great manager. One of the best, if not the greatest managers that's ever managed Manchester United. But Sir Matt Busby, I think, has that title because he rebuilt the club when it was destroyed after the Munich tragedy. But he's done a lot of bad things. While he was the manager, he's in his final year, he stopped buying players who could accept the challenge, younger players to build for the future. He was buying seasoned pros like Van Persie to secure his legacy because he didn't care about United's future. He cared about his legacy more. So he did leave us with a kind of a solid squad, but a lot of those players were at the wrong age to take up some new challenges. Then he insisted in David Moyes being the manager. Any idiot knew that Moyes wasn't the right guy to be our manager. Great manager and a great coach, no question. Look at what he's doing at West Ham. But Manchester United was all wrong for Moyes and Moyes was all wrong for Manchester United. LVG is a pioneering manager, but the wrong man. Mourinho, the wrong man. And Solskjaer, definitely. Any idiot can tell you that Solskjaer should never have been made permanent. But here we are. So now Sir Alex Ferguson is backing Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. And here we are, everyone. So everybody knows that this is the wrong man for any Premier League club, let alone Manchester United. But we're stuck with him. And now I'm having flash forwards to his pre-game presser and the bullshit he's going to talk about. How can that man show his face when nobody believes in him? Even the ones who say, I love you, Ole, thank you for everything. You changed this club, you improved this club, you brought in these players. Is Varane a groundbreaking signing? Isn't it obvious that he's a great player and you'd sign him? Sancho, Ronaldo, he didn't even buy Ronaldo. That was a club purchase. He had no fucking say in that. But he's built a great squad. But again, when you've got Man United money, building in a great squad with great players is an elementary decision. He shouldn't need or deserve much credit about doing that. So we still have the accidental manager in charge of our club. We've got Manchester United influencers telling us how to behave, and we've got Manchester United fan channels basically telling us that we've got to go easy on him. He's not good, he should go, but he's a nice bloke. You don't even know the bloke, and you're saying he's a nice bloke. He's not a nice bloke. Look at the way, I don't know if I've already mentioned this in this video, but look at the way he treated Van der Beek. It's ridiculous. If he played Van der Beek consistently as a first player from the beginning, we wouldn't be in this trouble. If he didn't consider not purchasing Sancho and buying a CDM, maybe things would have been better. But like I say, it doesn't really matter who he plays. The man is a negative counter-attacking manager. And he showed his hand as soon as he got his permanent contract. But this is all old news. This is all boring, everyone. We're just repeating ourselves here. We are stuck with this accidental, useless manager. And if you think that's disrespectful, then up yours. Because I and many of us are frustrated. We're Manchester United, winner of 3 European Cups. a record amount of league titles. I think we're still one ahead of Liverpool. Well, that's going to change very quickly. They're going to take over us. They're probably going to win the league this year. In a few years' time, they'll be way in front of us. All because we can't be bothered to employ the best manager, because the best manager will demand the best. And these owners don't want the best. Now, they had a demonstration on their hands earlier this year, so they've played kind, and they let the manager buy some players, and they're redeveloping the ground, which is great, but that's thanks to the fans who demonstrated, and I thank those fans implicitly. We need to get rid of these owners. And make no mistake, if you think new owners means Ollie, you're deluding yourself. But this man should already be sacked, but he hasn't been. And so there you have it. Manchester United will stick with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Or maybe they're negotiating with Conte on the quiet. Now, Conte isn't the perfect answer to the Manchester United problem. It's not a good solution. But anyone is better than the manager we have right now. And Conte's a really good coach. But does he suit the kind of manager I want Manchester United to have? No, but he's a bloody good manager. That's the thing. I would love Zidane. Zidane's a kind of total football guy, isn't he? That would be amazing to have Zinedine Zidane at Manchester United and to keep him there and allow him to do whatever he wants. That would be great. There's a lot of, what's his name, Nagelsmann? Isn't he at Ajax? I'm not sure about that, but would you leave Ajax and come to United? Listen, we are in so much trouble. And I said a couple of years back, this man will relegate us. And I still believe it. This man will relegate Manchester United in the end. Maybe not this season, but eventually, because I believe we could be stuck with him. He could have some dirt on the Glazers, and maybe they can't sack him. This man should have been sacked already. Simple as that. We know it. We know the players don't believe in him, but who would? And Gary Neville, well, Gary Neville's Gary Neville. He doesn't like talking about sacking managers, although he has sacked a few managers as an owner of his own club or co-owner of his own club. So he's a hypocrite. But he doesn't want to talk about his friend. And he talks about decency. Decency? Decency? Oh, come on, Gary, I like you, I really do, and you're a Man United player and you were great for us. But you're starting to niggle me. Even Jamie Carragher, who's not a Manchester United fan, and it would suit him for Solskjaer to stay there, is speaking the truth. Most people understand that this manager shouldn't be here. But at the end of the day, he is here. And that's the problem, isn't it? And we can't get rid of him. And as fans, of course, we lose our tempers on Twitter. And we can be a little bit toxic. Sorry, we're not as perfect as you top Reds. We'll start with him. We'll start with this embarrassment. Making a fortune. Keeping his job even though he knows he should resign. He keeps on saying he's so close to something. What are you close to, mate? Relegation. As a United fan who's been supporting the club since the day we lost the league when we drew 1-1 at West Ham and Blackburn won it, and I fell in love with the club because even though we didn't win the league and it was a terrible season with Cantona being suspended and everything, I saw a spirit and a drive about the club. We had a great manager, Cantona was coming back, and even though I was upset, that was how I fell in love with the club, and it was amazing. I sat there and I didn't even like football before I watched that game. And I thought, wow, the drive and the passion. Gary Neville's crying. Mark Hughes looks devastated after missing a couple of chances. Wow, I like football now. This is a good sport. And I love this club. The drive and the determination. And then we lost the FA Cup final. It was like a movie. And then the season after, we won the double. That season, when I was first introduced to Manchester United and football, we lost the double, then we won it. It was like a fairy tale. It was sensational. But there is no fairy tale here. Yesterday, everyone was talking about Ollie being sacked. I kept on telling you all, they're not going to sack him. I told you that, and no one believed me. because you've only got a few subscribers on YouTube and you've only just got over 1,000 followers on Twitter. So obviously it's a bit like the trope. How can a prostitute have good eyesight, right? That's the kind of thing they say. When you put a prostitute on the stand and she witnesses a murder or something, they say, well, she's a prostitute. How can you trust her? And it's a bit like someone with a few followers on social media. I told you all. They had no intention of sacking this manager. So we're stuck with him. And we're going to be stuck with him and stuck with him. We could be stuck with him till the end of the season. Maybe he'll win a few games. But let me be clear just before I sign off on this video. Win, lose or draw, I will remain Ollie out. The only thing that will change that is if he actually wins a fucking trophy and does his job. But he won't. He's not capable of even winning an FA Cup. We're already out of the League Cup. This manager is useless. He knows he's useless. He knows he shouldn't be here. But of course he wants his top position and he's keeping his top position. Is that the sign of a good bloke? No Gary Neville. No defenders of Ollie Solskjaer. He's not a good person. In fact, he's pretty a bad person. His treatment of VDB, his treatment of other players. Last year, his treatment of, De Gea. De Gea was having a bit of a mare, but you stick by your talent because he was just having some bad form. He was bringing in that kid just because he was demanding to play. It was ridiculous. And this is ridiculous. I think we've got a lot longer to go of this nightmare of a Solskjaer era. And that just is hurtful. I'm sitting here as a United fan and I feel pretty useless. You know when you feel you just don't want to be part of the club anymore and you can't be bothered with football? That's how I'm feeling right now. The problem is I can't turn my back on Man United and neither can you, not in their hour of need. We've got to fight for the legacy of this club. This club is an icon of football. And we've got to stick with this. And hopefully, eventually, it will be Ollie out. This is Movies TV Mad. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. And I'll be back later with even more videos. Till then, goodbye.